to have you back on the show. Now, let me just ask you something here, because you and the other boys in the band, you've been together for a long while. How long exactly? When did you two form, or when did the band that became you two form?
Well, the first time we played together was probably 1978, I think.
So that's, what, about 31 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time, isn't it? That's a long time to be together. What's the secret? Because so many bands from that period, I mean, I can't think of any others off the top of my head who haven't at least taken a brief period apart, haven't had, you know, some time solo projects and solo crews, but you guys have been together for the whole journey, haven't you?
I think the way it works in our band is everyone thinks it's their band. You know, Larry started the band.
So it's Larry's band?
So Larry reckons it's his band, but Adam was the manager, the first manager, so he reckons it's his band. It goes without saying that Bono sees it as his band.
Well, most of us all thought it was Bono's band, because you think it's the lead singer's band, don't you?
You do.
You do, but...
The actual truth is, and I'm far too modest to say this, really, but...
It's your band.
It's my band.
It's your band.
So, I'm ready to go now.
I guess, so long as you don't all say that out loud when you're in the same room, then it doesn't matter. You can all carry on thinking about it. But have there been moments where it's been close to you been splitting up, or there must be rows, there must be tensions that sometimes bubble over?
The thing about four egos, which I guess you must have if you want to be in a band, is that in this case, in the case of our band, the band's ego is bigger than any of the individual members.
So you all care about U2's reputation, about your standing in the world of music and entertainment, and therefore you kind of sublimate your own
So we
needs
share
and
the
desires.
songwriting, and we share, you know, it's a sort of quite a kind of hippie communal idea, and has been since we were 17 or 18. So people don't seem to care about, you know, whose idea that was, or who wrote that song, you know, as long as it's the best idea. I wrote most of them, but...
Yeah. The good and the bad, I guess. Is there a mediator in the band? Is there one person who actually steps in when things are getting a little bit kind of tense?
Edge is probably... Well, Adam's making a dash for Wise Owl from a very dangerous start, trying to set fire to himself. But he's become very wise. Edge, I think... Edge's modesty saves the day a lot, and occasionally when Edge has lost it...
It's the thing I'm most proud of, is my modesty.
Yeah.
Occasionally when he's lost it, he will be the guy. I remember him smashing one of his guitars after a particularly bad scene, but he went straight out the door and came back in and said, "I'm sorry about that." And that's the kind of guy. He also hit me very, very hard.
Well, I was going to say, have you ever come to blows?
That one time. He hasn't pushed me that far since, though.
And so, why did you hit him?
But I don't sit too close.
What was the argument?
It was one of those early gigs where you really feel your life depends on it being a great gig. And halfway through the show, Larry's drum kit started falling apart, and he's literally got a set of spanners out trying to fix them. And Bono didn't see what was going on. All he knew was that Larry had stopped playing, and he just lost
I counted
his head.
him in, I think is what it was.
And it was just all
He wasn't
boiled
there.
over.
I counted him in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you look down and there's no drummer.
He's down with the
Then
socket
he's down
system. Yeah.
under there. So I lifted the drum kit up to have a look at what was going on, and there was a bit of a proper little row broke out, and then the Edge just caught me with one. Just.
Did you enjoy hitting him? Was it a good feeling at the time? Must have felt pretty good, didn't it?
I could remember.
Let me ask you about your style, the way you've changed over the years, because we've got some very early footage to look at. And I love the fact, you know, you started then, it was that just at the tail end of punk, really, or right in the middle of punk, and then you guys came on after that, and you became a kind of bigger band there. I mean, there's an early photograph from you about the period. Look at that, that's from 76. And you look just like, it's just like a bunch of kids, which of course is what you were. I mean, you're like 16,
That's
17
in London, yeah.
OK, I'm going to show you a clip. Now, this is a clip that was on RTE in 1978. I suspect you probably haven't seen this for quite a while. And I'm a fan of the band. I've seen some of the early footage. I'd never seen this before. This is amazing. Have a look at this.
Do you believe in God?
That's a good... not really.
After that?
there can't be,
Well,
no.
come
There's no
on.
intelligent design even after that.
Come
But you're
on.
wearing like satin trousers there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just the end of punk going into the new
Power pop.
romantic
Yeah, that kind of-
moment, a little bit of power pop thrown in. And no, we never really quite had that together.
But that, I mean,
unlike yourself.
It doesn't sound like you even there, does it really? It doesn't sound like the sound that made you, that you became. You were kind of finding your way forward. When did you realise it? When do you think, okay, this is the noise we want to be making? When did that happen?
I think actually on the recordings of the first album with Steve Lillywhite is where it all started to really come together. And that album, it was called Boy, and it's kind of, the theme of it is trying to figure yourself out. And you couldn't have actually done it better. I mean, that album was where we started to...
Well, most rock and roll is about killing off your innocence, and that album was about kind of holding on to it. It was an unusual... Looking back, it was a very brave album. The lyrics weren't up to much, but the sketch of where the lyrics were going and the music and the guitar playing was there for sure.
Let's talk about your tour, the big tours you've done, because you're famous for your huge tours. When you're first playing stadiums, how long does it take you to get used to that size? How long does it take you to get your performance right for a crowd of that sort of scale?
Our whole thing was about being a live band. We were never very good at being on TV. We went on Top of the Pops. Our single went down the next week. We were never really good at being, you know, on camera, really. But when we were in front of a crowd, something magic happened between us and our audience, and the songs even started to make more sense, and the lyrics would change. And whether it was a club or then moving on to arenas, that was really where that's actually, to this day, that's where we do our best work, and that's where the songs live.
And do you ever veto Bono's lyrics? If he writes something, do you ever say, that's terrible, we're not singing
Occasionally,
we're not doing that?
occasionally, but
What-
very
what-
occasionally.
Can you remember one?
It's not really like that. It's more like you're trying to uncover the song that's in there, and
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes a line will just...
So you're working, you help him chip away and find what you
and
you
he
always
does
say.
the same with everything I do. That's the thing about a band.
Yeah.
A real band is you're all much better because you're in a band where the other guys
You
are...
bring out the best in each other,
Yeah,
like a
helping
proper
out.
relationship. Let me ask you about when you're doing the big tours then, because the new tour, you have this giant claw above you.
We do.
And now what's the thinking behind the claw? There's more than one, I believe, when you're up there, but that's a pretty big structure.
It's really a chance for us to get as close to our audience as possible, because one of the things about U2 Live is always this ability or this wish to sort of make a connection. This thing gives us the chance to get out physically, right out into the crowd. So
It looks absolutely remarkable. It must be wonderful to perform in. Presumably, that kind of thing, that's a nightmare to travel around with, though. I mean, presumably that's, you know, hundreds of trucks
It's
and people.
165 trucks, it's 3 sets of steel, and it's a very, very expensive thing. But at a time of recession, we have €30 tickets, which is really cool. Because when you've no back to a stage, you open up more tickets.
So you can have more people. Now, we have a clip. This is a clip of the guys performing live in Barcelona. This was just last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think this was filmed specially for us. Have a look at this.